Vacation is back on KFAN. We have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. That's every hour from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. To enter the keywords and learn more, head to KFAN.com. Inflation Vacation is powered by 2 men and a junk truck.
Well, here he is. Welcome back to globe-trotting, crowd-pleasing, power-punching.
What?
Legend Mark Rosen of Channel 4 Sports is your whole life just sports fame. Good to have you back.
So good to see you.
You look good. You look refreshed. You look rested, ready.
I feel good.
It looks like you've lost some weight.
Well, I don't know about that. I try. I mean, I try to eat pretty healthy out in La La Land and, got a little exercise the best I could.
You look good.
Well, I'm trying. I'm trying. I got a ways to go.
You know what I would say? And this is a compliment, don't this?
All right.
You look better now than you did at 45, I think.
Wow.
You look strong.
Those nighttime hours take a toll on you, when you
that's
work till
correct.
11:15, 11:30 every night. But, nice to have a little bit more of a break in my life.
I said, you said during
45.
During the break before you came on, you said you're kind of glad to be home. And I think Wolves and Viking fans are too, because you were 0-2 out there when you were with the club. They don't want you to travel with the team anymore. Do you feel like you jinxed them at all?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, it was unfortunate. The Wolves opener against the Lakers, that was a clunker of a game for them. I've seen Randall play enough basketball with the Knicks, and I just went, he looked like, he wasn't sure if he wanted to be out there with those guys. He seemed so tentative that night. And, the whole game was fixated around LeBron and Bronny getting on the court for the first time. Mm-hmm. And it turned out to be kind of much ado about nothing. And that's where this is sort of leading. But it was still a moment. Everybody stood up. Even the laid back LA crowd, got on their feet. And when Bronny and LeBron checked in together and, the kid didn't score. I think he took one shot, but, it was the Anthony Davis show. And the as bad as the Wolves were that night, and they were bad. They still cut the lead to 4 at one point in the fourth quarter. I thought, here we go. They turned up their defense, and that was contributing to points on the other end. And then Anthony Davis just took over. So that was we had a good time. It was fun to go to the opener and see the festivities, et cetera, and honoring Jerry West. They gave Max my Jerry West jersey. They handed out.
Oh, you did?
Night. Yeah. They handed out, and they had a number 44.
I like Jerry West.
Well.
I like that jersey. Thanks a lot for thinking about me.
They had a big tribute to the late, great Jerry West on the scoreboard, and I was telling my son that I said, it's there was a team called the Minneapolis Lakers, and they moved to L.A., and then the first year they moved to L.A., they drafted a guy named Jerry West. That was the first year, 1960 or 61, I think it was, and played with Elgin Baylor.
He was from out east, wasn't he?
West Virginia.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. There you go.
Was he from West Virginia?
Yeah.
Well, then he was from out east.
Yeah. But they showed some old clips. He has, the little black and white clips. And
grainy.
Yeah, it was
no
fun
3-point line.
No. Nothing like that at all. But
wearing high top shoes that were just made out of,
Chuck Taylor.
Yeah, Chuck Taylor canvas.
Yeah, too.
Just nothing.
Yeah.
These will protect your ankles. Yeah, sure they will.
Right. And that was, they didn't exactly have all the benefits of the comforts that they had today. Far from it. But it was fun. We had a good time. And
then a night or two later, whenever it was, you went over to SoFi to watch the 5-1 Vikings. And again, it was Vikings the last 2 games have not played their best, or at least we've not seen. It doesn't seem like we've seen the same Viking team, and you got to credit Detroit and LA. You can't just say it was. I know fans of all teams, no matter what city you're in, you always like to think, well, it's because our team didn't do this or didn't do that. But a lot of times it might be part of it, but it's also the other 2 teams played well, and with Cup and Nakua back in the fold,
especially Nakua.
When they were back in playing, that just opens things up for Matt Stafford, because who still has a ton of talent.
Yeah, and the Rams won the coin toss. They deferred to the second half, which is kind of the norm. The Vikings took the ball, went right down the field and scored.
Well, they each scored on their first 2 possessions. It was 14-14. It looked like it was going to be a track meet.
It did. And they're not going to be able to stop the Vikings. The Rams' defense doesn't look very good. And then Minnesota just bogged down. I mean, this has been a problem. You look at the point differential between the first half and the second half, it's quite alarming. It's something that KOC, I think he mentioned. I didn't hear the interview with PA today. He has his normal Tuesday live interview. But I think they're trying, as they say, pick up the pace. They want a little more of a fast break type of offensive scheme. We'll see how that works out against the Colts on Sunday night. But, it just we saw. I mean, kind of recanting the whole game in terms of the lack of pressure and of getting on Stafford, and he can still sling it with the best of them when he's got time. And Nakua is a stud. I mean, he's a difference maker, 100%. And then they kind of unleashed the rest of their defense on Darnold. And that, of course, they had the horrible non-call with the face mask in the end zone. And, again, given what happened with the Washington-Chicago game, under the heading of you just never know. I mean, obviously.
Well, right, but that's...
it still would have been a far-fetched. Yeah, it's still inexcusable. I mean,
especially with the way...
Right in front of us.
Especially, again, being the devil's advocate and being, the glass half empty guy, I'm supposed to believe with the way that team played in the second half that all of a sudden they were going to drive
80 yards.
97 yards in however many plays. I never saw it. Well, whatever, but you know what I'm saying. I didn't see it coming.
No, I don't think most people did. Yeah. But, the point of the matter is they kind of made their own bed by then anyway. So now it's how you recover. And this Colts team, I know you guys have been talking about it, that Joe Flacco is going to start on Sunday night at the age of 39. And he's been, I think this is 6th or 7th team he's been with.
Well, someone said, did you say this? They said, I heard Rosen say the Colts are a step down in class and should be an easy win. Did you say that?
No, okay. I didn't say it was an easy win. I mean, a step down in class, well, from playing Detroit and probably the Rams. But no, every single...
They're 4-4.
Well, not only that, you look at their scores, every single game has been really competitive. They are, they don't lose by more than 6 points, ever.
Right.
Well, not this year. We remember the historic comeback the Vikings had a couple of years ago against that team, but that's 2 years ago.
And we know, we talk about parity all the time. And if you look at most games in the NFL, unless you're Detroit, they blow everybody out. But otherwise, the games are generally close and come down to a play or two. In particular, with the way the Vikings have played, especially in second halves, They struggled against the Jets. They struggled in the second half against the Kitties. They struggled against Green Bay in the second half. They struggled against the Rams in the second half. And now when you're without Darisaw, who is considered one of the better left tackles in the league, it's not like, we got the Colts, we'll just bounce right back. I'm not suggesting they won't win, and they are favored and should be. And I'm if I'm picking them to win, but there's nothing it is funny how things can change in less than a week. 5-0,
right?
Talk of the town, talk of the league, really by a lot. And then all of a sudden, you lose on a Sunday to the Kitties. 4 days later, you use, or 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 4 days later, you lose 2 games in a 5-day period. Something you're 5-2, and it kind of changes the narrative about the club.
Well, now it's up to them to change it again because they have an opportunity, and that's all you can say with these games. You've been looking at their schedule, saying, well. Yeah, it's a step down in competition, but they're playing again. They have to play kind of mistake-free football. They play Indianapolis here; it's their only home game of the month. So that in itself, they go to Jacksonville, a team that can be pesky, not a great football team, but a pesky one. At Tennessee, looks like on paper maybe the easier of the three of them. Then they go to Chicago to play tough guy town, the Bears, at the end of the month, and so. You got those 4 games that you knew that were looming in the schedule, and after playing, the Texans and the Packers and the Lions and the Rams. This is, in theory, should be a little bit easier, but I think it's incumbent upon them to kind of recalibrate. Hopefully, they're going to get Blake Cashman back. He's working his butt off. They're trying to get back, and it seemed to have a domino effect.
Is he going to be in this week? I kind of got the feel from what I was reading; it didn't sound promising.
I think KOC just said they're very, very hopeful that he's going to be back. Right. But, until that may end up being one of those game time. We'll find out tomorrow a little bit more with the injury report if he practices tomorrow. But pushing real hard to come back from, those turf toe things are pretty, they can linger and it can be painful. But it seemed like it's been a real domino effect on this defense with the guys kind of playing out of position a little bit without him roaming the middle of that field. So, and then the good news is T.J. Hawkinson will be back this week. So that gives him a real legitimate main target that is a separator. I mean, he's especially if you want to, without Darisaw, that maybe Darnold will be getting get rid of the ball a little bit quicker, like Stafford did, like Goff does.
Do you have any concerns about Hawkinson getting up to game speed after being out so long, or do you think that's overrated?
I think he's there.
I think it's overrated.
Yeah, I think
especially in football.
He's been there.
You run a pass pattern, you catch the ball, and you run.
He's been running these tests for weeks and weeks and weeks, and he's been passing them with flying colors. They just wanted to wait for the right opportunity, and you can't minimize the importance of him in that football team. He's I think next to JJ, I mean, he's the most important offensive asset from a scoring standpoint. I mean, I guess you can look at Aaron Jones as well, but getting him back will help immensely because that's what they paid the price for to get him on this roster.
You've picked the Vikings all 7 weeks. I'm assuming you're picking them to win this Sunday as well.
By a Will Reichert field goal, probably.
Yeah.
I don't think any more than that. I mean, I'll probably pick them to win, but I mean, they're favored by 6, which is a little lofty given the fact that every game the Colts have played has been that competitive. But maybe, I don't know if it's going to change. I mean, I don't think it changes with Anthony Richardson out. If anything,
I think it's an advantage for the Colts to play with Flacco.
It probably does. I mean, this guy is a pocket passer. I mean, he's been
seen everything, won a world championship,
done it all.
Nothing to lose. He's got $180 million in a ring. What does he need?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go out there and wing it, spin it.
39 years old. He's having fun.
Correct.
He's got a great opportunity. And
it reminds me of you on Vikings pregame show. You did TV for all those years. You're just on there just winging it. It's no big deal. It's like, oh, no, they're going to fire me. You're the legendary Mark Rosie. He's the legendary Joe Flacco.
Stopping by with Deuce to watch the show before the kiddie game.
I expected there to be a massive crowd around you guys. There was nobody there.
Well,
have you guys lost your popularity?
No,
maybe?
Not at all. Where
was everybody? Not when I was there.
Well, maybe the doors had just opened.
All right. Well,
we were packing them in.
I don't know.
I don't know. People are coming there to watch the show.
I think it sort of looks like maybe you guys have. Maybe you've lost the luster a little bit.
Maybe you should check out the ratings. They're awesome.
Are they? They're through the charts?
Yeah.
They're off the charts? Okay, very good.
Yeah.
We'll pause. We'll come back. Max, you've got a keyword, right? Correct?
I do indeed, my friend. The Fan and 2 men in a junk truck want to give you a shot to put $1,000 in your hand with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword BILLS at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. That's keyword BILLS. Enter it now at KFAN.com.
Fan.
Want to chime in on what's happening with your favorite KFM program? Make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Bryant text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
Text message just came into the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line at 64686. It says, Rosen bragging about it and embellishing the size of this crowd. Where have I heard that before? Yeah, I guess I've done that for Flop, Sweat, and Tears on occasion. Guess we should have had a little bigger crowd than we had, though we had a huge crowd the other night. We've got more Flop, Sweat, and Tears shows coming up in the not-too-distant future, next Wednesday, next Friday, and then
holy cow,
the Friday after that. More on that later. We'll be giving away tickets to all of those shows. Mudroom in Mendota Heights next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow. Then we'll be at the River Oaks Golf Course in Cottage Grove that Friday. And then a week from that Friday, so a week from next Friday, we'll be at Rockwood's.
You're back.
Up in Otsego. That's for 2 shows, a dinner show and a cocktail show. They love us. They love us.
Meat Sauce is rocking and rolling?
Yeah, well.
All right.
Let's just say that
Target jokes?
I closed. Well, he did about 6 minutes.
Okay. I didn't.
Which was about 24 less than he was supposed to do. So then that left it up to me. So
6 minutes.
I did 45 or 50. I was
just on a roll.
I was a combination
of what?
Dennis Miller, Jerry Stiller, and Phyllis Diller, and even a little bit of Dave Chappelle, Howie Mandel, and Dave Attell.
That's quite a combination. Yeah.
Those were some more on that. More on that later. Your Minnesota Golden Gopher football team. Maybe I should apologize to. Well, I don't really need to apologize to PJ because I've always said I don't mind his whole shtick and his approach because I said if he's my boss at 66, I probably quit. But he's talking to 17, 18, 19-year-old kids, and you're rowing the boat and everything's good. And I still don't know if the Gophers will ever get to those thrilling days of yesteryear and be national championship contenders like they were in the days of Bronco Nagurski, but ever since that
early 60s,
since that second half loss, terrible second half against Iowa, they've been real good. Michigan, they got jobbed on the call. They may have been able to tie or win that game.
Right.
They go out and they beat USC. They beat UCLA, and USC was they had to rally back in that game, and then they dominated a Maryland club to the point where Brosmer, the fifth-year graduate transfer, he gets the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. The kid from up in Coy, where's he from? Esco. He wins a Freshman of the Week, and teams playing some really good football.
Well, it's encouraging, and that's all you want from a program like Minnesota, and especially in a year like this. Just with not knowing, looking at that schedule, thinking it's going to be difficult at best. When you look at the teams they're playing and were added to their schedule because of the Big 12 the Pac-12 coming in here. And they're holding their heads up high and they're getting better, which is really what you want from any program. So kudos to the Gophers for that. They had a lot of alumni there, I know, on Saturday afternoon, and they had a dominating performance. It's Maryland, but it doesn't matter. We've watched this team struggle against lesser teams in Maryland and lose against teams like that. So the important thing is just to get better. And Illinois has been kind of a kryptonite in their all the years of playing the alumni of late, and so this will be another challenge for them on the road on Saturday, and a very tightly probably contested type game, and but yeah, it's great. It's great to see him throwing the ball around and having legitimate targets with Jackson and as you mentioned, the Brosmer kid. Not sure what he was. I'm sure he was not sure what it was going to be like to make the move to Big Ten football, and he's a perfect example. He's getting better and better and better, and the team around him. So it's nice to see.
They're a game away from bowl eligibility, and maybe you just said it, and I really wasn't listening, just waiting for my chance to talk. The schedule is what do they have to close out the year?
I'll have to Google it.
Maybe somebody could dial it up.
I know they got Wisconsin. Right?
We have Wisconsin. I don't think.
Here we go. They got Illinois.
Illinois, which again, now they got dominated last week. But are they
Oregon,
still ranked?
24th.
Yeah, they're still ranked. That's a very good club.
Rutgers. That's a very winnable game.
And Rutgers is okay, I think.
Then things get a little tougher. We got Penn State.
Yes, they're number 3 in the country.
Third in the country, and then they finish up. Oh my gosh, that's it. So they don't have to play. They're not playing Oregon. They play Wisconsin November 29th, 11 a.m. So that's a Friday game.
The Penn State game, I mean, let's just, for argument's sake, they lose that game. But the others are all, Illinois, again, the way they've been playing, they were at the beginning of the year when I saw Illinois get ranked and I watched a couple of their games or at least parts of it, I would have said, well, the Gophers aren't going to beat them. But now I don't know. All bets are off. And, Rutgers, like you say, it's a very winnable game. And then Wisconsin's always, it's the old, I hate the cliche, but it's true, throw the records out the window.
Yeah, they have a chance. So. They legitimately have a chance to win 3 of their last 4. Obviously Penn State will be a big favorite. But, they beat Penn State here that one time. The game is here, right? November 23rd. So that'll be a marquee game for them if they can get through these next 2. They got to be 1-0 this week. Yeah. I heard PJ say that.
Yeah. Well, this is who are we playing again?
Illinois.
No, this is Illinois week.
Right. But
it's Illinois championship week.
Yeah. Well, so they should be able to knock down a win or 2 and get back to a bowl game, which is again, it's with the 12-team playoff this year. It's all about that and the teams that are going to be able to compete for a national championship with expanded playoffs this year. But it still is, it's important for Minnesota to kind of keep that momentum going and just accept for what it is. People go off to the bank and have a good time and the Gophers have a big game like they had against Maryland.
Well, and that's what this text messenger says at the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. He says, common 2018 Gopher grad and longtime Gopher fan here. Mm-hmm. While I do agree with you that we may never get back to those glory days, I do think we can get to a point where each game feels competitive and draws a lot of interest. This season, the crowds and students section have been some of the best I've been a part of. Nearly 15,000 traveled to UCLA for that game, with many anticipated to go to Oregon next year. If PJ can be competitive, win the trophy games, and keep us in the national conversation, I think most fans would be satisfied.
Yeah, I don't know what and Barrero's been following it, obviously. Indiana's been the surprise team.
Yeah.
And I really don't know what they've done. If it's they got extra nil money, they're able to recruit some players that they were never able to get before because, they're paying them some pretty good money. Whatever it is, kudos to the Hoosiers. For a basketball school, they've elevated themselves into the conversation like they have, playing as well as they have. That's the type of program you look at and go, that's what Minnesota aspires to be. I always talk about keeping up with Iowa and Wisconsin. Well, now Indiana's in that conversation for a team that's rarely mentioned, rarely has those kind of highs that they're experiencing this year. So, you just got to keep the boat rowing in the right direction.
Let's take a break here. I got several other topics I want to get you on. I want to get something else, a development with the Gophers that I'd like to talk to you about too. So we'll take a short break. One last segment to go. Mark Rosencommon and Phil in Fuller, big ticket JG, waiting in the wings. They'll be here at 3, right here on the Fan.
Wednesday each week for your chance to win tickets to see your Minnesota Wild in an upcoming game. Wild Wednesdays are presented by Jim Beam, a crowd pleaser since 1795.
Couple 13-14 pass, final segment of the Grum. I'm Common. He's Phil and Fuller. Some people want to call you Marconi Max.
Oh, Marconi Max.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
I like that too.
Marconi Max.
Yeah, it's got a nice ring to it.
As far as I know, we only have one Marconi winner in the building, Dave Ryan. I think he won 2. I know he won 1 for sure.
I think he did win 1.
Yeah, I think he may have won another one. They're just handing them out at Home Depot for Dave. He's got nothing but Marconis. I think maybe you saw the story, maybe not. It was a Fish Wrap Factory West Side. Randy Johnson writes college football for the Minnesota Star Tribune.
Right.
Headline, Dinkytown Athletes finds $1 million match for partner NIL. Minneapolis-based investment advisor firm Nepsis Inc. will match up to $1 million to benefit the Gophers football and volleyball programs. We've talked about how here in Minnesota we seem to be well behind in the race for dollars for name, image, and likeness. Nepsis is a Minneapolis-based registered investment advisory firm, and announced it has partnered with Dinkytown Athletics. The University of Minnesota Athletic Department's approved NIL Collective on $1 million match. Nepsis is founded by Mark Pearson, who also started a Mentoring with Clarity program. And he said, here's a quote from him in the paper. He says, "It's been a long time in the works, and I couldn't be more excited about multiple things happening, including helping Coach Fleck and the Gophers." Pearson graduated from the U in 87. He says, "Coach and I really hit it off on a personal level. He thinks a lot the way I do in terms of what he does in mentoring young men to prepare them for life. Football's just a stop along the way in life's journey." He says, with the NIL and things changing, you have young men with loads of money. There's people a lot older who don't know how to manage their money, let alone an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid. Our mantra at Nepsis,
right, and
my passion is multiplying the talents, not just money, but skill sets and giving back. So, that's a start because I don't have any idea how much money Dinkytown has raised. But if they'll match up to $1 million, so I don't think they're just writing a check. Does that say they're not just writing a check for $1 million? They'll match somebody. Right. If somebody puts up $100,000, boom, they'll put up $100,000. It
sounds like their heart's in the right place too. In terms of, I know I read something earlier today about maybe we were talking about Coy Parrots, and he signed a deal. Blake Barrett's, I think, is his agent and representative when it comes to the NIL money. And Max, is it called Gushers? Is that what it's called?
The fruit snack type candy.
He said something. I don't think it's been officially announced, but it was on the Twitter machine. He was quoted saying, "It sounds like it's getting closer to happening." That's a kid who's you want to make sure he's sticking around. As a perfect example of a Minnesota kid who stayed here. Committed to here on the whole 9 yards, and he's now kind of the poster child for moving forward and making sure that he doesn't go anywhere, and you got to entice him to stay here with NIL money. And so that sounds like it could be a close thing. But they need something broader range, and I think that's something that when you're trying to compete with everybody else, and especially with some of the powerhouse teams in the Big Ten, it's difficult to do. I know Ben Johnson's been struggling with that a little bit with the Gopher basketball team and trying,
They've lost kids because of that, yeah.
Yeah. And again, you're not talking the numbers that you need for football. You just need 2 or 3 key people to really kind of elevate your program. So, but that's the direction that we're going. And it doesn't, I think people always assume because, you have all these Fortune 500 companies in Minnesota that, the General Mills and the Medtronics, et cetera, are going to step up and hand over big fat stacks of cash.
Hasn't happened.
Not happening. No. I mean, other forces are going to have to get together for whatever reason. So.
And let's face it, $1 million sounds good, but it's a drop in the bucket. It really is because, some of these other schools, I don't have any numbers in front of me.
Look at Oregon.
But my guess is there's tens of millions of dollars floating into some of these schools. And
there are.
They're going to get what they want to get, up to hundreds of millions, So you're
not going to change.
No, it's not going to change anytime soon.
I mean, it's a system that in a lot of ways is broken, but this is the system we have, and it's, as they say, you can't put the old genie back in the bottle. I mean, between the transfer portal and
or the cat back in the bag, in the bag.
That's right. I think
or Pandora back in her box. You can't do any of those things.
I heard earlier this morning, we didn't bring it up with me, but I think it's National Cat Day, speaking of cats.
Oh, is it?
So I have to make sure that Willow and Truman get some extra treats today. So I'll bring some home. Maybe some candy corn. Nah, I just saw that in the
did you have
break room. Mm-hmm. I had to have a couple. I don't really, it's their habit for me.
Are you a candy corn?
Not really, but for 2 or 3, that's about it.
If you eat candy corn and peanuts, it's basically a salted nut roll. Did you know that?
That's what it is.
Well, that's what a salted nut roll is.
Rumor is Halloween's this week. So.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Leave it to the Dodgers to take all the fun out of the World Series. It's 3-0. Game 1 was, if you were going to try to interest people in Major League Baseball, you show them that game right there and go, because that was a lot of fun. Freddie Freeman, who's been struggling with an ankle, does his best. Kirk Gibson hits a walk-off grand slam. Right. First time it's ever been done in Major League Baseball history in the World Series. But then they get a nice pitching performance out of Yamamoto the next day, and then last night another nice pitching performance. Freddie Freeman has hit home runs in all 3 World Series games, and dating back to the last time he was in the World Series, I think it was the last 2 games he played. So it's 5 of his last World Series games. And it's like, we know we've seen a team. Didn't the Red Sox come back from a 3-0 deficit in the American League Championship Series or something a few years ago?
It was 2004.
Yeah, but I with the way the Dodgers are playing, and unless Aaron Judge starts to hit like he's capable of, it looks like it's going to be a quick 4-and-out for New York.
Yeah, it's watching Aaron Judge swing the bat right now, and you can see the mind games that he's going through, and it's painful because baseball is a humbling game, no matter how good you are, no matter how many home runs you hit during the regular season. This is his legacy. He gets back to a World Series, and he's old for whatever he is, and can't get going. And then Giancarlo Stanton, who's been their only real force for the most part. The third base coach sends him home and looked like me trying to run home from third base last night.
I think you're quicker.
I might be with my bad knee and all.
I mean,
it was, get the sundial out to time him getting home.
That wasn't, even though it was a relatively close play, I don't think you can do that at that point. No. But I guess you're trying to make something happen because you're down and you've been struggling, but not the best decision.
And Derek Jeter's point was going back, Game 1, I was in L.A. and I was watching. My son and we watched the end of it in a restaurant / not a sports bar, but the place went nuts. It was fun to be there when Freeman hit the walk-off grand slam. But I think Jeter's point was Garrett Cole started the game. Mm-hmm. He did Aaron Boone, who's not a real popular manager in New York, pulled the old Rocco Baldelli thing. He took out Garrett Cole after 80-some pitches, and he said Jeter's point was immediately, the Yankees are going to have trouble recovering from this. They should have kept them in longer.
Well, he mentioned
they're not hitting the ball, but
part of his quote, I think it was Jeter who said, "I don't want to sound like the back in my day thing," but he talked about when Al Leiter went 140 pitches.
It's a World Series.
It's a lot different. You don't want to blow a guy's arm out, but I don't know if you will. But certainly Garrett Cole could have gone, and I think Boone also caught heat too because he went with Cortez.
Yes,
and Cortez hadn't pitched forever because he'd been hurt. He's a starter, and you put him in and that didn't work either. So he's caught some heat there. It was about three weeks ago, was it, when the Pole lads announced their intent to explore selling the Twins? Have you done any insiding? Are there any offers been made yet?
No, nothing I'm aware of. I just know there's some people in town that are interested.
Oh, there are?
Yeah, there are people in town that are interested.
I've heard the same thing. Maybe we've heard of the same people.
No, I don't think so. But
you don't think I'm in those?
No, I just think you might be hearing, based on what I think you hinted at, you might be hearing some different. And
okay.
All parties are welcome.
Yeah.
I don't know how this is going to get flushed out when you have, right now, until further notice, the Pohlads are still owning the baseball team. So when the decisions are made this winter, as soon as the World Series ends, it's free agency time. The clock starts immediately. Mm-hmm. So what are the Twins going to do? Probably nothing. But they said,
well, if you're selling something like that, you generally don't make any payroll type moves. If you're going to sell, you want the owners of the team aren't going to. Well, wait a minute. What are you doing? Why did you sign this guy and that guy? We don't want those guys in the team. So I think you do kind of just. Not that they would sign anybody anyway, but you want to just we're in a holding pattern. Here's the club. Here's where the payroll's at. Here's how the contracts are. It's all yours. Knock yourself out.
Yeah, between the Twins and the unresolved Timberwolves situation with Glenn Taylor and A-Rod and Mark Lowry, it's kind of a, and people are, I think people are, it's big boy, cloak and dagger kind of stuff. It's like people aren't concentrating on that. I think a lot more people are interested in how the Wolves are going to do tonight against Dallas Mavericks than they are in the Lowry, A-Rod, et cetera, thing at the moment, and how it's going to affect the team.
How do you think they're going to fare against the Mavs? You like this Wolves club, don't you?
I like the potential of what they have. I think that Julius Randle is going to add a lot, a variety of options for the Wolves. And Dallas played last night, right, Max? I think not that it's, it matters.
They played Utah last night.
Yeah, all these teams go through the back-to-back thing. So, I mean, on paper, the Wolves would have a bit of an advantage playing at home. And, you're watching, you're going to see Anthony Edwards he hasn't expanded his bench yet, Finch. I mean, we were talking about that this morning. The kids haven't had a chance to play yet.
Max and I
you guys talked about that a little bit, which is, it's more 3 games into the season. So let's just pump the brakes a little bit on that.
Well, he never has really gone deep on his bench anyway.
No, I mean, Josh Minot gets off the bench, and a few other guys we know that.
I'm talking about like last year. No. I mean, the experience or am I wrong? I don't ever feel like Finch had 8, 9, 10 guys playing in games anyways, right?
Like, giving Dillingham, 3-4 minutes to get out there and try to see what he can do. And if it's a blowout, I wouldn't mind seeing him get out there. But I think they're on a pretty good path right now to where they need to be. And it doesn't matter if they win 56 games or 53 or whatever it is. It's just you're jockeying for position. I think that's given how impressive the Western Conference is. It probably doesn't matter a lot if you finish first, second, third, or fourth. I mean, you just want to finish in one of those spots, I think. That's a long ways between now and the end of April. But in the meantime, they're going to pack the place, and people are interested. The Wild are off to a great start. I mean, that's really been a nice surprise.
They were 5-0-2, and then they
finally lost the game.
They gave up 7 goals.
Well, I mean, it's...
it's 7 goals given up.
Well, I know. Against
I was only on a handful of shots, from what I understand.
Was it? Yeah, I was on the road. I didn't see that, but I heard about it.
I think the other skate's dropping. I think we're in trouble.
I don't think so.
Well, you wait and see.
All right.
You heard it here first.
Okay.
Do you think, at the end of the day, by the time we get to the end of the season, do you think this Wolves team will be better than last year's Wolves team?
I think they have a chance to be.
You do?
Yeah, I think they're pretty
good last year. Western Conference Finals.
Yes, in terms of getting the ultimate results, it's going to take a lot because that's a lofty goal to get there because the conference other teams have gotten better, but I think the makeup of the team I think will be more interesting to watch this year. And they're not taking anything away from Karl Anthony Towns, who hasn't shot very many 3-pointers. I know he fouled out in New York. That was a bad run for the New York teams the last couple of weeks. The Giants, the Jets, the Knicks losing at home last night. Obviously, the Yankees about to get swept in the World Series. You don't think
Mets
that's
as well?
Mets, right? But Towns, I looked at the box score, Max, and he was like, I think he fouled out, and he hasn't been taking many 3-pointers. So, Brunson's kind of been the guy, and it's going to take. I mean, I think both teams are going to be adjusting. The Knicks have a very talented team, and it's way too early to judge how it's going to fly, but. I think Randall and watching him during his career, his aggressiveness and what they need as far as getting another guy to the basket. I think it's only going to push Ant even a little bit more to do the stuff that he's doing because Ant looks like he's all world right now. I mean,
Do you think he's going to end up being the greatest basketball player in the history of the game?
No.
How do you know?
I don't.
He's already isn't he the fastest in 3-pointers?
That's a statement.
What was that stat? Do you know what that stat was? Is he the youngest to a certain amount of 3-pointers?
I'm sure.
There's a lot of those stats that he's accomplished.
But it's not about that. It's about ships. We got to get one of those. Anthony Edwards can have all the gaudy stats in the world. He wants to win, and he wants to win now.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Would you heard what he said, right? About retiring and playing pro football? Did you see the note? Okay.
Yeah, that's Anthony.
So
he wants to be anything. He wants to play ping pong.
So with that in mind, what if the Wolves were to win the NBA championship? Let's just say they do. He's out.
He's not going.
Well, how do you know? He said he never liked
contract.
What? Well, yeah, but he can retire just because he's in a contract. He can just retire and go play pro football.
And why would he do that?
Well, because that's what he said he wants to do.
Well,
he said, I want to play football after I win a ship.
Okay.
You can dismiss it all you want.
Ant is a bundle of fun to listen to.
It's just you're afraid of what's going to happen.
No, I'm not afraid of what's going to happen.
You're terrified that if he retires...
why would you go... And what's he going to do? He said something about tackling Derrick Henry, and Henry was asked about it. Is he going to play strong safety? Is he going to replace Harrison Smith? I mean...
Sounds like you're doubting.
I'm not doubting
Anthony Edwards' athletic ability, his ability to play pro football.
I'm not doubting it. I mean, there's Bo Jackson comes to mind in terms of
Deion Sanders,
baseball. Deion Sanders,
Mike
he was
Jordan,
in basketball. Jordan tried to play
That's all right.
baseball.
He played 2 sports.
Yeah, I don't. At the age of 22, 23, whatever he is not going to turn the page and go try to become an NFL player.
How do you know? You're just saying that because you don't want to believe it because your little Wolves Club and your little swordfish dinners over at Lexus Club and your courtside will just be gone.
I have not. No, I would not.
Well, they'll just be...
You want to end up on injured reserve every other week? Come on. He's not going to do that. He's crazy. He'd be crazy. Good for him. He feels that he could.
That's what he's going to do.
All right.
And you're going to
crying.
Think about it. One NBA championship, and that's all we'll ever have here.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
It's not all about you, Mark.
No, it's not. But...
speaking of New York City failures in sports, Tennessee, even when he's not working, never stops working. He sent me this text this morning. OptaStats, whatever that is. Mm-hmm. New York City is the first metro area to lose a game in Major League Baseball, MLS, NBA, and NFL on the same day, regular postseason. Wow. So the Yankees lost, whatever their MLS team has lost.
Yeah.
The NBA, the Knickerbockers lost, and the Giants lost.
And think about it.
All on the same night, just
that's
the city
amazing.
of losers.
And think about the Liberty cheated to win over the Lynx. So, they gave them that championship. But yeah, it's kind of a rough time right now and we really feel sorry for him, for New York fans. And I love New York, but I don't particularly care if they're losing right now.
Wow.
That's let them understand.
In other words, misery loves company.
We also always talk about our sports woes. It's like they're experiencing
Think about this.
Right now.
Ant goes to play football somewhere, and then the franchise goes back to being just woebegone. One of the worst teams, and then those swordfish medallions don't taste quite as nice, do they, over at the Lexus Club?
Pretty dry.
Those courtside, Kilborn doesn't come to town anymore with his courtside seats. He won't show up when they're winning 12 games a year, 15 games a year.
No.
If you want the Wolves to contend year after year, you have to hope that they don't win a world championship this year because he said he's going.
Yeah, okay. How much money is he doing the next how many years playing basketball? He's going to go.
Did you see the quote?
I saw the quote. That's Ant's personality. He thinks he can do anything. He thinks he can.
Maybe he can
be better than anyone in anything.
And maybe he can.
And if you'll remember, Jordan was the same way. It wasn't matter, and he always had to have money on it. If he could play in your driveway, I heard stories about Michael Jordan taking on some 13-year-old kid. They play for money. It's like this is what MJ. Competitive juices. They all feel they can be the best at what they can do. That's great.
If you'll remember, when Ant was drafted, he said he doesn't even like basketball. He always
remember that.
He said he liked football. He didn't even like it, but he's really good at it, so he played.
Yeah.
So in other words, I think he's going to have a career, and I think he's going to be a successful National Football League player.
Well, then I think the Vikings should sign him as a free agent, and if Harry the Hitman decides to retire, then they can slot him right into his position next year.
Why not? Why doesn't he take Blake Cashman's spot this Sunday?
Well,
could use him if Blake's got turf toe.
He could do a doubleheader. He could play for a couple games and suit up for the Vikings Sunday night.
Think about it.
Yeah, and I don't think that's.
He's Ant. That's who he is.
Yeah, he's Ant.
Think about it. Meat Sauce liked him so much he got a tattoo on his on his calf. He got ants on there because he was so in love with.
That's when he was like 12 years old.
So you're back in town for a week, and then you're off to Turks and Caicos?
No, I'm here all month.
What?
Yes, I'm here all month.
The whole entire month of November, we're going to be graced by your presence?
Correct. Like it or not.
Because you've been this globe trotting, crowd pleasing.
Just London and go see my son. It was great to spend quality time with my kid and out in Los Angeles, and I paid $200 for parking at SoFi Stadium. That was fun.
Yeah. You got the money. Don't pretend you don't have it.
I didn't say I didn't have it.
Let me ask you: Did you see that I met Sugar Ray?
I saw that picture and I went, "Is this current?"
Yeah.
I didn't know. I thought
Saturday night.
Oh, so now you're doing selfies.
Northside, what
was he here for?
He was here for a Northside Boxing Club Fight Night 2024. We raised over $300,000 for Northside Boxing Club.
That's fantastic.
They're going to build a barber shop inside their gym so that they can kids in the Northside can get free or cheap haircuts. And then Phil the Drill Williams, he cuts hair for a living.
Yeah.
They're going to turn it into like a barber school and teach kids a profession.
That's great.
So yeah, Sugar Ray and I were there.
You look good.
Is
he doing fine?
I thought I looked pretty good too.
It's okay. You're all right.
We're contemporaries. He's 68. I'm 66.
Is he really?
Then he called me out at the very end. He said, "I just want to tell everybody I want to fight. I want one more fight." He said, "And I want it with you." He looked at me, so I started dancing and jabbing, and he laughed at me. But
I don't blame him. That's cool. Sugar Ray, one of my
legendary Sugar Ray Leonard. We'll see you tomorrow at 2:00. Right?
Yes, sir.
That's the legendary Mark Rose. And Max, thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for showing up.
Yeah, you too, and great job on your part. We'll turn over. We'll hand the baton over to Big Ticket JG. They're next, right here on the Fan.
And good night, folks, and good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.